Back to my question of why make a new programming language, and to broadly address this issue of why all these languages are not good enough, it's that they all make underlying assumptions about how you should program, right? They have ideas. The features of the language and the style of the language is designed to support certain styles of programming that most people have bought into. Certainly, most educational systems teaching programming have bought into. And they're designed according to these principles, and they're grounded in this insanity, and they're helping to perpetuate it in some way. And I want to avoid all that. So without naming names and without naming specific problems, there's a broad issue. Now I want to come back to this graph as the second part of the why. And I want to make an analogy now. This is not going to say anything about CPU speeds, but you know, I got into games a little bit before the Quake 3 days. Actually, I started in 1996 professionally, and the Quake test for Quake 1 came out that shortly after I started, and then later that year, Quake 1 came out, and we didn't really know how to do a lot of stuff back then. Like, there were no 3D accelerators, so you had to know how to draw every pixel on the screen to somehow make a 3D scene, right? And that's really complicated, and there's lots of hard work to do there. We didn't know how to rotate objects in 3D space, right? We used like Euler angles, and things got messed up sometimes, and we were just like, well, put a hack in when that happens, or whatever. We didn't know what we were doing, but in the years after that, we made really tremendous progress. If you were to chart our progress in how what our technical advances are in building game engines, it would have a steep slope at the beginning. But I don't know how many people in the audience feel this way or have even thought about it, but I kind of feel like we don't really make advances in game engines very often anymore. I think it's undoubtable that games look better and better every year still, or every couple years, let's say. But I think in large part we are coasting on some of these other trends, like the faster machines. So a new generation of consoles comes out, you know, we can make things look a little better just because it can throw more stuff at the screen. But we're not necessarily making advances in engine technology the way that we used to. And so I kind of wonder if we look like this blue dot curve, or the green dot curve even, and need to dislodge ourselves by sort of getting rid of some of the bottlenecks that we have, right? So if our tools are constraining our productivity, and we do a good job of revising those tools, that might buy us some more slope on one of these curves for a while at least.